The idea behind the seed production area for us is to increase the amount of seed that we've got available for restoration activities. I guess it's a loose term, restoration, but we're trying to establish native grass out where we've had African olive removed. So we've had about somewhere between 20 and 30 hectares mulched out on the landscape. We've got some wild collections of grass on site, but it's not enough for that. So we're wanting to complement that those wild collections. So we've grown these species here. We've got 4 within the fence here. Poa there. We've got Dicalacne here. Over there we've got Chloris truncata, and then around to the left Microlina. There's been about 30 or 40 people involved in the thinking and the doing in this project in terms of the grass seed production and the field trial. So it's a huge number of minds getting together to work out which species to use and how closely do you plant them, who grows them, how do you grow them, how do they go in the ground. So it's been really important to have project partners. We've got about 1,600 square metres, so each species has 400 square metres, and the densities are slightly variable. For the Microlina, Chloris and Dicalacne, there's about 9 plants per square metre that we've gone for here in the production area. Nice and close, and that way we hope to get the cover established quick, and then they outcompete the weeds. The Poa went in at about 5, but we'd probably change that if we had our time again. But we do germination testing, so in a way we're wanting to increase the amount of seed that's available for restoration activities. We test the germination, then we know how much we've harvested, how many viable seeds we have, and then we can work out how much area we can try and establish native grasses out in the landscape. We've got a fence here, lots of rabbits around. The rabbit fence was about 10% of the overall cost of the project, but we thought it was a bit of a risk assessment. We decided if we went through and we spent say $40,000 or $10,000 on each species just in this area here, if we didn't fence it and everything got eaten within 2 nights, it'd be a real shame. We wouldn't have much to talk about. We'd be done. We'd be on our way. So in reality, where all that money went, we did soil testing here. We followed those directions with the soil test. We scalped as much as we could. There's 2 sewer lines running through here, about 300 mil below the ground. So we could only really skim somewhere between 50 mil and 100 mil off. So we've still got quite a bit of a weed load here. Prior to all that scalping, we went through and sprayed the Fusilade to hit mainly the cooch. Wanted to take out the cooch, and then once that was there, we could scalp it away, and we came through, added some gypsum. We followed the direction of the soil testing, added some gypsum, put some compost across the top, ripped it in as best we could, and then installed the plants that were grown in speed cells. When it went into the speed cells, a whole lot of seed was just spread across the trays of about 100 plants, and in that way, within the cells, you had 4 or 5 individual plants. So I think that's really helped us here with the expansion of the plants to cover up the area, so that we get a good density and a good result. The Chloris is amazing. These plants went in May last year, and the Chloris, they've already dropped seed and self-sown. It's just a thick carpet. In less than a year, that's happened.
We've harvested about, we reckon about 15 million viable seeds out of this patch this summer so far. Probably enough to do about 17 hectares of restoration. Just this Microlina, we've got at least about 4 kilo of pure seed out of this little patch here, so amazingly productive. What we use to harvest this stuff, sometimes it's by hand, but Gavin will show you the grass grabber mechanical harvester.
So the grabber was engineered by a gentleman down in Goulburn.
Paul Alessi.
Paul, yep. And effectively how it works, I'll take the lid off. So I won't fire this up today, it's fairly loud and noisy and whatnot, but it's got a lawnmower or brush cutter engine on it. On the direct drive straight onto the brush on the front, that's effectively what they use for chimney sweeping brushes, so they're quite stiff. As you push it forward, so I'd be pushing the machine forward with the brush spinning, and it basically goes, you set it to the height, I can adjust the height on the sides, and it'll go through at the seed head height, and we get, you can see here we were doing chloris last, so you get quite a bit of the chloris seed. So at the bottom of the bag you'll end up with that. On top obviously there's still a bit of chaff and that kind of thing, but at the same time we're able to sort of pick that straight off the top. In terms of the microlina, that's pretty much what we're getting straight out of the grass grabber. So there's probably a fair bit in there, and microlina, clean microlina seed like that is fairly expensive to buy in.
We're finding the seed fill is quite high as well. This is the advantage of having plant bank. We're actually able to take it into the lab and actually check what's going on.
Yeah. So
and with microlina, unfortunately, some of you may have found the paspalum grows beautifully where the microlina grows at the same time. The chloris is a bit challenging.
Yeah, it tends to catch in the brush. The one thing we find, we're constantly having to stop it with the splines, which is a little bit of a pain. But you can see the quality of the seed that we get out with the chloris, where with the rake, we tend to getting whole seed heads with the seed still being held on the seed head. So then we've got to thresh it, we run it through a mulcher to thresh it down, and we do end up with this eventually, but with the grabber, we're getting those results almost immediately. And it's coming pretty much ready-made for us. It's what we'd be purchasing if we were buying it from a collector. With the weeding in here, we go through like the microlina patch a couple of times. We hand weed before we go through and harvest it, and just get anything that's got heads, mainly paspalum and pigeon grass. They seem to be the two painful ones. Greening Australia help us out a bit with this too. They'll go through and spray for the broadleafs, that kind of thing. When we process them out the back, like for the trials, we go through these batches, and anything that's obvious, like paspalum heads and that, we'll pick them out. But we're finding, like you can see in there's not that much contamination, because this lot we're able to control fairly well. When we do wild collection, especially a microlina, that can have all kinds of stuff mixed into it. And obviously if you're out in a wild area, it's not going to be nicely maintained and manicured like that. We can go ahead, have someone go ahead and pull heads of paspalum, etc. off, but we have thermida and stuff which has been mechanically harvested in the past, which we have a site at the moment which needs a lot more cleaning with a tumble drum or something, because the amount of breezer mainly that we have is quite extensive in some of those. So that's where proper cleaning of the seed is good, but you can see with the trial lot here where we've got it planted as a monoculture effectively, we're able to get a pretty good result.
We still do a lot of wild harvesting, particularly the thermida. We haven't row cropped that one. We've got quite a few number of species. Dicanthium's another one we harvest on site, or we got quite good mixed stands, Aristida and Dicanthium. Microlina, we're probably this one, it's starting to sort of thatch a bit, which does tend to control the weeds. And you can see in the chloris, there's actually plants coming up in between the gaps. So it'll die back in winter, but we hope next year it'll be pretty solid. With the microlina, we're probably best to run the mower through that with a catcher, I reckon, just to take a bit of the bulk out of it. And I reckon that'll keep cropping well into autumn. We can actually mount it to a quad bike as well, which is what we do for kangaroo grass. So you can mount it a bit higher, and we found if you can just get it the right height for the kangaroo grass, it comes off really well. It does tend to wrap around the end of the spline. That can be a problem with some of the grasses. We've got a couple of other species on the other side here. We've got the beautiful barbed wire grass, Cymbopogon. We've got the wild sorghum, which you would have seen in the landscape. And we've got Capillipedium, which we don't actually have on site here, but it is a Western Sydney grass. We've worked with project partners, as Jordan was saying, Greening Australia and Tim Berryman, Cumberland Plain Seeds. So that's the sort of the native grass production area. I mean, we're very happy what we got this year. We'll probably get another couple of years out of that easily. I'm a bit biased, I guess, but I think they're really interesting plants.